whatever amendment or whatever it is that Tinubu changed the constitution to. And if any coup happen in Nigeria now, with any Fulani or Hausa or whatever, any northerner that says, fellow Nigerians, it will lead to a civil war. Don't let anybody deceive you. I know you don't have, I mean, you may not believe me on that. Like, why you going to forget? If any coup happen right now, people, it will lead to a civil war. Except a kind of coup that will see to the killings of all of these politicians. Do you get what I mean? Like the kind of coup that will target all the state governors, all the politicians, Tifnumbu, everybody, shitty man, all of them, and then just buy them. Nobody to escape. Maybe that can just be something that will be like, okay, maybe. Sure, you get these guys, because this is the first time in the history of that contraption that their democracy lasted more than 5 years. It's been on now for 25 years. And the most harmed group of people in Nigeria today are the politicians who have their own non-commissioned armies that they give different weapons to. They have so much money to destabilize anywhere and everywhere. So any coup that happens in that contraption today is going to lead to a civil war. And I'm not going to lie to you. Somebody like me, right? I would not be on the side of any coup that is coming from northern Nigeria again, except if you are going to put a southerner as the head of the coup. Forgive my sentiments, because there's something about the north, the criminal northerners. It is their born to rule mentality. They cannot live outside power. They can't live without power. So every time they are out of power, it is always like the world is going to collapse. The world must collapse. This, you know what I mean? And I am not going to be naive again in my life to believe that one fancy soldier from northern Nigeria will take over government in Nigeria and I will scream and say, Eureka, again, never. Here you get. So that is why I would rather that all of them come to that conclusion of let us break up this contraption. Everybody, they go there. Maybe they go your way, maybe they go our way. So I'm saying this to you, brethren, so that you don't fall into the trap of thinking if they stage any coup in that contraption, you don't mind anybody. No, you have to mind. The North cannot live without power. And they will do everything, right, to justify why they can take the power back, even though it will never serve anyone, not the people, not their own people, not Nigeria, but their own selfish selves. So if there's going to be any coup in Nigeria, it's either you put an Igbo man there or put another Southerner there. I'm just saying. And that is something that the northern Nigeria will never settle for. If they are going to stage a coup, it must be them. A Fulani man must be the next president. It's not going to happen. So that's why I said that it will just lead to another civil war. People like us will raise the flag of support for the breakup of that contraption with violence, by the way, if that should happen. So right now, the North, they are scheming, they are doing all they can to make it look like they are a victim. But when they had the chance, of actually ameliorating the problems of their own people, they make it worse. That's what happened. They made it worse. Bukwari destroyed Nigeria to this point. Tifnumbu is just finishing the job. So if Tifnumbu's actions pushes them to kind of realize that Nigeria is no longer worth it, they should promote the breakup of that contraption. Break it up. Everybody, they go their separate ways. As for Tifnumbu, they are not reforming anything. They are just merely doing business.
They are not running the country, they are doing business. Occasionally, they get distracted with governmental duties, but their primary business, they are just business people. And they think, that's why they are trying to run petroleum industry rather than, have a regulatory framework. They're not running the economy, they're not running government. They're just trying to, they don't see you and me as citizens. They see us as customers. So they are mercantile in their approach. So they see you, oh, you're a customer, I can get extra money from you by hoarding petrol. I can get extra money from you by underfunding public education. So they're not really to do anything, and they're not willing to comply with Chapter 2 of the Constitution, which stipulates how governance should be done in Nigeria. What the responsibility of government? Call anybody in government. They are not responsible for anything. Right. Because the Minister of Water Resources is not responsible for whether you have water or not. The Minister of Education is not responsible for educational outcome, whether the student fail WAEC, fail JAM. It's not responsible. The Minister of Health is not responsible for the life expectancy or medical outcomes. They are just carrying this title to enable them to put their signature to award contracts. But they're not, beyond that, they're not going to do anything. Remember that in the past, Lagos had the best water in all the English-speaking world. Lagos. Yeah. Better than London, Brisbane, Ottawa, anywhere. Nobody is giving water to anybody. Before, we had the best hospitals. UCH Ibadan used to come first or second. Okay. The entire English-speaking world. They're not doing any of those things. So we have people who are in power, but they're not in government. Because
they're in power, but not in government, because government is responsible to the for the people's well-being. But those ones are just in power. That's exactly what you have in that contraption. Talking about power. This young man has a message for the EFCC chairman over their consistent illegal raids, especially in Ibadan metropolis.
So, this is to the EFCC and also to the EFCC chairman in person of Mr. Ola Olukoyede concerning these statements that he made some months ago, saying they've banned late-night raids by the operatives. But it is so unfortunate that up till now, these operatives still raid people's house. So just yesterday night, overnight, some operatives were in Akobo in Ibadan, and they raided a lot of houses, taking away a lot of cars, arresting a lot of people. And that is not even my problem. My problem is they went to someone's house, and getting there, the security refuses to open the door because he was so shocked that who are these people that are knocking their gates with sledgehammers? Who are these people? Are they thieves or what? So the security man refuses to open the door. And they had to break the security man's house. Coming into the house, they had to beat the security. Just look at the way they beat this guy. Just imagine. And after gaining access into the house, they met the occupants of the house, and unfortunately, there was no Yahoo boy in the house. And they asked all of them to submit their phones, which they did. They checked their phones, they didn't see anything. And they said, why this kind of house go fine like this and Yahoo boy no go there inside? And this is so sad. Because I can't imagine like you see a fine house and the next thing that will come to your mind is that there must be a Yahoo boy there. And for sure now, you guys are just walking without no evidence, without no intelligence, nothing. You just raid people's houses like the way you want. Not like you have intelligence that, okay, that house, that is what they do there, that they do fraud. They were about taking those people's cars, and those people said, no, you can't take our cars because we are not into fraud. One of the occupants of the house is in Canada, he's not in the country. And that one was seeing them in the CCTV camera already. And now they want to take away their cars, and those ones said, no, you can't take away the cars. At the end of the day, they had to leave, and they've already spoiled their properties. Who is going to be responsible for that? Is this how we'll be living in our own states, in our own country? You will be sleeping, you will not be able to close your eyes because anything can happen. You can just say, and the whole thing will scatter. Is this how we'll be living in our country? And the chairman said they've banned late-night operations. So is it that they don't listen to the chairman, or the chairman is only saying this for saying purpose? Because I believe the chairman cannot instruct them not to go and raid people's houses, and they will go and do it on their own. Now, a lot of people will be spending their Christmas with them. A lot of people that are not even involved in fraud will be spending their, because once they arrest you, they will not even leave you. Even if you are not involved, they will make sure they delay you very well, that you have the trauma. This is so sad. The EFCC chairman, please, kindly look into this. Kindly look into this. It is not until people start turning to them and start fighting them back. This agency should be one agency that people will be so scared of, that, you know that once they have something on you, but not like they will just do random busting and just arrest people, whether you are guilty or not. They will just take you. Bless.
That's one thing that scares shit out of me, among many others. It gives me a bit of a PTSD. I won't lie to you. A friend of mine, right, traveled to Nigeria, and he lodged in an hotel in Lagos, somewhere around Omole, or what's that place called again? Around Omole. And in the middle of the night, the EFCC came to that hotel, and they marched everyone inside the hotel out. They were busting rooms because they received an intel that some internet fraudsters, Yahoo boys, lodged in the hotel. So if that was even true, that means your intel should be able to tell you which room they are staying. I mean, if you are looking for a certain people. And that's not the first time I have seen something like that. Before he experienced that himself, I've seen it in their reports where they will bust hotels. And in the middle of the night, when guests are supposed to be in their rooms, and they'll march everybody out. You think they are actually armed robbers, robbing people in hotel. Hotel was supposed to be like a safe place, but not in Nigeria, not with the EFCC. They marched my guy out in the middle of the night. The trauma, he still get the trauma like 4 or 5 years later. The trauma is still with him till now. That he will be sleeping in his own room here. I mean, in his house here. He will be sleeping and he will just jump up like that. He's at therapy, is met with counselors to have counseling, is being treated of this, but the PTSD still lives with him up to this day. You never went back to that Nigeria since then. No? You talk about Nigeria, it's like, oh, please don't talk about Nigeria here. Imagine you are just in your room, just came back from abroad, and inside your hotel room, they march you out with other guests, some of them in their nightgowns, some of them in their boxers, some of them naked, that they just had to drag, just draw something to just put on and all of that. Only because they are doing random raiding. They will never change. It is a rotten system. And if you encounter them by any means, you would never wish that on your worst enemies, ever. That's how bad it is. You will never wish it on your worst enemies. But they will never do that to these criminal politicians. They will never ask the criminal politicians who looted billions to carry placard or carry board like they have of so many of you that they have paraded if you can't pay them or bribe them the amount they are demanding for. In Nigeria. And like that, my guy just said, It doesn't matter if you are not guilty. Once they take you to their station or take you to their place, take your property and the rest of that, they can even force you to write a statement to say that you are a fraudster in order to blackmail and extort you. That too happens. You know? Here is their police force releasing a statement on the corrupt police officers which they have apprehended for different crimes. Let me show you.
Address a particular case of job racketeering, where 4 suspects were arrested for forgery, job racketeering, and impersonation. And then, as the police operatives in some states foiled kidnapping attempts, particularly in Katsina and Kaduna State. Following a report received from the Office of the Special Assistant to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and subsequent extensive intelligence gathering, operatives of the IGP Special Investigation Unit, Abuja here, have apprehended 4 suspects alleged of criminal conspiracy, forgery of official documents, job racketeering, impersonation, and obtaining money under false pretense. The suspects identified as Kuzeafa Tafida, male, Zakari Abdullahi, male, Abdullahi Baba, male, and Adeyemo Morufu, male, belong to a syndicate involved in forging classified documents emanating from government agencies and organizations in the bid to deceive unsuspecting victims and extort money from them under the guise of securing a job for them at the prestigious Nigeria Police Academy within in Kano and other agencies of the federal government. The first and second suspects, Kuzaifa Tafida and Zakari Abdullahi, had forged a document resembling one emanating from the office of the National Chairman, All Progressive Congress, and another document with resemblance to one from the State House, Abuja. The deal then proceeded to present the document to the Office of the Inspector General of Police as recommendations in favor of 13 persons for Nigeria Police 2022 special recruitment. Upon receipt of these documents with suspicion, followed by a petition from the Office of the Special Assistant to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, a discreet investigation was conducted, which led to the apprehension of Kusefa Tafida and Zakari Abdullahi. Further investigation led to the arrest of further suspects, and upon interrogation, the suspect confessed to their roles in the crime they committed. They admitted to forging documents from several government offices and individuals to defraud unsuspecting victims, promising them enlistment and jobs at various government agencies. Some forged classified documents, stamps, the sum of 1,700,000 naira, and other incriminating items were recovered from these suspects. With this new trend, members of the public are hereby advised to be wary of such fraudulent elements and avoid dealing with persons and individuals offering assistance, particularly job offers, outside of due process. In another development, and still part of the efforts of the Nigeria Police Force to combat any form of crime, the operatives of Nigeria Police Force attached to the GBR Divisional Police Headquarters in Katsina State intercepted a group of suspected armed bandits along the Magama-Jibia Road, where they had accosted and attacked 2 commercial vehicles in an attempt to kidnap the occupants. The police operatives engaged the bandits in a fierce gun duel which compelled the armed and dreaded bandits to flee, resulting in the foiling of the kidnap attempt and the rescue of 14 victims. Unfortunately, during the escape, 2 of the victims sustained gunshot injuries from the assailants, but they are now recuperating in the hospital. Similarly,
EFCC chairman still dey for jail. Politician wey in the probe don enter for power. EFCC chairman still dey for jail. Politician wey in the probe don enter for power. Ewo, EFCC chairman still dey for jail. Politician wey in the probe don enter for power. Ewo, EFCC chairman still dey for jail. Politician wey in the probe don enter for power. If you dey do government work, you go carry am for head, you. Maka one day, aga bokwa gite na ma o. In another government, you. Iri wayo, nwanne mo, ebukwa ya n'ishi. One day, aga bogete na ma o. Ewo, EFCC chairman, no dey for jail. Politician wey in the program enter for power. EFCC chairman, still dey
for jail. Politician wey the probe don enter for power. Ewo. Sir Adebayo Onilere, thank you very much. Oh, I don't see your hand, and God bless you for your generosity. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. Those are the Templars. I actually love the message too. You're like, Mayegun, you are doing a great job. I know how hard it is for you. It is actually really, really demanding. So keep up. And thanks so much, for that. I really appreciate that too. Thank you so much, everyone, as well. So you can see that I didn't take calls, right? Because I've got this load of gist. And sometimes I just want to kind of like let everything out. It's like lifting everything out of my chest so that I don't go to bed and feel like, man, there are other things I wanted to say, but I just have to move it to the next day. Or do you wish I probably stopped like the usual time and then took calls, right? Did you wish that? Or are you tired? Are we tired? I still have like about 2 Gs. They are like coming towards the end though, all right? So, but we'll take calls, all right? We'll take calls tomorrow. I promise. I promise. Thank you very much. Right, it's called a rich mindset. I love that. In Lagos, the chairman of Mushin local government is the latest local government that is acting on the directive of renaming streets, close markets, buildings, and all that from any name that is not Yoruba. They have to rename them back to Yoruba, even if they have to, arrogant. I mean, is that called arrogant? No, it's not called arrogant. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Don't worry. So the Mushin local government chairman who controls the Ladipo markets. But I don't know. Is it just me, right? I know that in 2003, was it 2003 or 2004? There was this conversation around Ladipo markets. spare parts markets in Lagos. And even up till the time I left Nigeria, 12 years ago, Ladipo market was still Ladipo market. There is a part of Ladipo market called Aguin Rossi International Market or spare parts market or something. So there was never a time I